Hello and welcome to Chocolate Covered Games. This is Monthly Melt for August of 2022. First segment we always do here on Monthly Melt is our fives.
Yep.
And this month I got to pick what our fives were. So I picked our top five Button Shy games. We do own quite a few Button Shy games. They're one of... I think they're the company we own the most, or the publisher that we own the most games from.
Probably.
Renegade might be close.
Well, if you count all the different, Marvel United different, and all the TC deck builder differently.
Then that's
Crypto,
CMON and Cryptozoic.
Yeah.
But individual games, Button Shy and I think Renegade are probably our top two. But Button Shy... for us, hits a lot of those special.
Now you're describing this horribly. We like it because it's short and Doug doesn't have to read a whole lot of rules.
Yes, there we go.
Doug hates rule books.
I don't hate rule books.
Extremely hates them. He'll throw them out. I'll never know how to play a game.
For me, I like short games that I don't have to think a lot. Though there are some long games that I do think about. Or that I do like to play. Not that I think about.
Yeah. I constantly think about the games.
The long game?
Yeah. Goes with my cons.
Yep. Like I do want to play a historical miniatures game, which is a long game. I played...
Well, if you chose a historical battle that was really short.
Short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This battle only lasted like an hour and a half. It was over super fast.
We do have that Dixie card game that we could never figure out.
Yep.
That's Civil War card game. But anyways, these are our five Button Shy games. Yeah. And since I picked the topic...
I go first.
Tim will go first.
Now, I'm assuming there'll be massive crossovers.
Maybe.
I'm assuming...
And we own a lot of their games.
I'm assuming we'll go probably 3 for 5 for crossovers. My number 5...
1, 2... I think we're going to have 4 or 5.
My number 5 is definitely on your list.
All right, you think?
Well, it's the first Button Shy game we own, and that's Circle the Wagon.
Okay. Spoiler, Circle the Wagons did not make my list.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about it, because if it's on my list and your list, I'll just wait until it's your turn. Circle the Wagon is a fun game. It has the patchwork mechanic, where you place the pieces, in this case cards, in a circle, and then the person gets to choose so far out, and whatever you don't choose goes to the other person. So it's a fun little game where you're building, I guess, a ranch technically, where you're getting cattle, you're putting mountains.
You're just building the West.
Yeah, you're building an area.
You're circling the wagons.
Yeah, and there's on each card there are 2 sides. One side is a grid of 4 different areas, and then the other side are scoring conditions. And at the beginning of the game, 3 are chosen as scoring conditions, and then you start building out your western area. So maybe you need cattle to surround mountains, or 4 guns in a row, stuff like that. It's a fun little game. I think it's probably one of their more popular games.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of Button Shy's earlier wallet games in their category.
Yeah, I think it was our first big one.
Yeah. So, that's my number 5, Circle the Wagon.
And you missed your shot there. To use the Chris Bermanism. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, well, I'm not a Bills fan.
Neither am I.
I'm not going to patronize those people.
Patronize.
Nope. I stand by my incorrect pronunciation.
But I'm a Josh Allen fan, so I do sort of like the Bills or something. But anyways, your number 5 was Circle the Wagons, which was not on
your list.
My list. My number 5, I'm guessing, is on your list. So we'll talk about it when we get to that number for you. My number 5 is Death Valley.
That is on my list.
All right, so we'll talk about it later when we get to you.
My number 4. I don't think is on your list. I think it just missed the cut. That's Tussie Mussie.
Tussie Mussie is actually my number 4.
Okay. So I guess we'll talk at the same time.
Yeah.
It's equally good.
Equally good. Yes.
Well, I guess equally great because there's a lot of them, so it made our top 5.
Yes.
Tussie Mussy is you are a flower arranger,
Yes.
arranging flowers. And then you have, I believe it's a sale bouquet and like a grand bouquet.
Keepsakes.
A keepsake.
It's keepsakes.
Yeah. So there's 2 different scoring rows that you're working on at the same time, which is very nice.
Yeah. Well, it's an I split you choose.
Yeah.
Because you either take the card that's face up or the card that's face down, and your opponent gets the other one. And then after everybody gets their 4 cards, the face down cards are revealed and everyone scores their collection. So, like, you may need the card that says it needs to be next to a keepsake. Well, you got that keepsake that you needed to score that point, and then when it flips over, it may trigger other scoring.
Yep.
Yeah, it's... I think it is their second most popular game. I'll tell you in a second. It is their 3rd best-selling game.
Yeah, about that.
It's their 3rd best-selling game. And the artwork is Elizabeth Hargrove.
Yep. Yep. Each card has its own unique scoring on it, which is nice.
Yeah.
There's, I think, 6 expansions, which we own all 6, making it a 72 card game.
I don't think there's 6
a 91 card game, something like that.
Expansion, collection, there's Flower Shop, also expansion, Flower Shop. Customer, yeah, I guess there's a couple expansions.
It's 4 wallets in our thing. So it's more than 18 cards, which did take a factor into where I placed it. I marked some of these down based on how many expansions there are. Now, granted, my number 1 has 4 expansions, but still.
Your 1 is first, so I wonder if your number 1's the same as my number 1.
No. I know for a fact my number 1's not your 1.
Okay.
But yeah, Tussie Mussy is our 4.
All right.
Which means it's back to me. Because I said 4, then that would be your 4. So now it's my 3rd.
Your number 3.
My number 3, I don't think you've played. Because it's a solo game.
Okay.
And that is Ragemore.
I have not played that one.
You haven't played Ragemore?
No.
Ragemore is a very interesting solo game. Now, Button Shy has been doing more solo games.
Yeah.
The Scott Alms collection. This is pre that. This
Okay.
is one of their first solo games.
Is Rove Scott Alms?
I don't believe it is.
I'll tell you in a second.
Because normally it has
It
his
is
name.
not.
Yeah, because it didn't have his name on the little...
Have you played Rove yet?
Not yet. We got it in
Yeah.
and I get to play. But now, maybe since we have this table down here, in our new-ish space,
Yes.
we're slowly making an area. But Ragemore is it's a dungeon crawler kind of game.
Okay.
Where it is only 18 cards, which is nice. No expansions as far as I know of. And on one side, you have your heroes. On your other side, you have your monsters. And it plays kind of solitary-like. Not like solo, because it is solo, but like certain things can't be on other things.
Okay.
Because if they are, you lose. And you go through and you have to win through 3 fights. But each fight will take multiple cards. And those cards go away. So your resources keep going away. Because that monster was eventually going to be a hero. But now it's gone. And all your heroes are also gone.
Mm-hmm.
So the closer you get to the end, you have less resources. So you got to think, do I want to spend this really good card or shuffle it back into my pile to draw later and hope I get to that 3rd cave? So it's a very difficult challenge because you keep losing resources as you go along. And there's just no way to gain them.
Yeah.
The only downside with this game is there's some times where you can just lose because how the cards come out and things will automatically just go on other things and you'll just lose that way. But other than that, it doesn't take long to set up or play, so it doesn't really hurt if you have an automatic loss.
Well, none of these games take very long or set up.
Some of them can.
No, I'll have to play that one.
So that was my number 3, Ragemore.
All right. So I'm guessing my number 3 is probably on your list, and it's a solo game. and it is Unsurmountable.
No.
No? I am really surprised Unsurmountable did not make your list.
Well, my 3 was a toss-up between the two for the solo game.
Okay.
But I like Ragemore a little bit more just because I like the theme of a dungeon crawl over
Climbing mountains?
Yeah, because I could at least go into a dungeon and die. I cannot climb a mountain personally.
But you can climb a mountain and die.
Yeah.
So in Unsurmountable, you are building a mountain, trying to get to the top with a continuous path on each card. And you have your base camp, which is 4 cards at the bottom. And you always play the leftmost card in that base camp into the mountain. Or, what is it? You discard one of the cards.
Yep, and then it moves.
Or no, you can discard that card to use the power on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can discard that card to use the power on there, but then again, you can't add that card to your mountain. So it may be that it lets you rotate a card 180 degrees. It may let you swap a card from your base camp into the mountain. There's a Yeti card, and I forget what the Yeti does off the top of my head.
Don't recall.
But it's... I like it because it's one of those games, it's quick to set up, it's quick to play. You can play 4 or 5 in 20 minutes. And that feeling of reaching the top of that mountain is really cool. Especially when you can do it with cards that are left over. And there's different levels of the game. Like you can play with 3 cards in your base camp instead of 4.
Yeah. Different things have to be on a line or
yeah, you can, all the forest cards can be in a line or all the snow cards. So it's however hard you want to make it. I always just play at the easiest level, and I only make it like one every 8 or 9 times.
I believe this one was a Scott Alms.
Yes, this was Scott Alms.
I think I do remember seeing his name on
Scott Alms solo game.
Yeah.
So that was my number 3, Unsurmountable.
My number 2 was already mentioned earlier on the list.
Okay.
As somebody's number 5.
Okay.
That was Death Valley.
Okay.
Death Valley plays a lot like Tussie Mussy, where it has the 2 rows of scoring, because you're taking a trip across Death Valley. Where you have I think the top one's your road trip and your bottom one's your memories, if I remember correct.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's your trip in your journal, I believe.
Yeah. And you're trying to put stars in your journal because they're worth more points. And it's all...
if you get too many of the same background or like water or whatever element.
Yeah. Because each card has either like a desert, a water, a sun, or
if you get too many of the one, I believe what you lose that card, or you lose those cards.
Something like that. Like they no longer score you points. But Death Valley ranked above Tussie Mussy and Death Valley are pretty much very close to the same game. I just like the theming more of Death Valley over Tussie Mussy. Because I do like the art in Death Valley. It has that Western deco kind of thing going for it. But yeah, my number 2 is Death Valley.
My number 2. Since I already know you only have one solo game on your list, is not on your list. And my number 2 is Sprawlopolis.
Well, you can play more than just solo, but most people...
Is it on your list?
No. Most everybody plays Sprawlopolis solo.
Yeah. Sprawlopolis is just an awesome game. You're building a city using the 18 cards, but on the back of every card is scoring conditions. So as you're building your city, you may want, a certain number of parks to be close to each other, a certain number of buildings, or, you may need to just have any numerous type of scoring things, and they may work against each other, the 3 that you randomly choose. Yeah. So you gotta decide, okay, I'm going to work on this one versus this one, but these 2 here may work together.
Yeah, this one fell out of my top 5 surely on the fact that this game has the most expansions. It has this Combinopolis, Agropolis, Beaches, Highways, Industrial, Fantasy,
I don't know.
Kaiju,
Well, Grobless is a standalone game.
Extra Cards, even more cards. I think is his expansion name.
Yeah.
And then like the last expansion is called Big Box Edition. I mean it has a lot of expansions because it is popular.
Well, wasn't one of your ideas for Button Shy, if you're gonna make a game with more than 18 cards, do a big box line?
I think they should either go super tiny with 18 cards, or go the other way where it has to have over 1,000.
Yeah.
Like you are buying like a 60-pound box of cards.
Let's see. Okay.
Are you seeing how many expansions it has?
Comboopolis expansion, invasion and points of interest, seasons expansion.
I forgot seasons. I think
Okay, well that's all it's list.
it's a lot more. But yeah, that was what, your number 2?
Yes.
My number 1 isn't on your list.
Okay.
Even though it should be, because when we played it, you constantly cheated. And that is Arcane Bakery.
How'd I constantly cheat?
Well, you're only allowed 3 ovens. And you constantly had like 5 things going on. You weren't supposed to be looking what's in your oven because it's part memory game. You're like, okay, I have all these extra ovens somehow. What's here? What's here? Okay. When we played, you had like 9 ovens going
I
on.
did not.
And so, in Arcane Bakery, you are facing another baker, like a competition.
Yeah.
You get 3 ovens, which are what you're baking in. Once you put what you're baking in the oven, you can't look at it. It's supposed to be memory. You're supposed
I always look at what I put in the oven.
That's not how this game works, because this game, each thing takes so long to cook.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to memorize all these things, because this is one of the early Button Shy, well, it's not early, it's midpoint, when they started having you have to bring your own things like chips or coins. And you have, ovens with timers. And once you put something in the oven, you place your coin down on your timer. And you had to try to remember how long that goes in to pull it out. Because you couldn't look at it. And there's cards you can mess with people like shuffle ovens, shuffle, your timers and whatnot. So it's a memory game where you get to mess with people, which is a nice mechanic. And just working in culinary my whole life, I'm against using timers in general. Like, I'll put something in the oven at work, I'll look at the clock and be like, okay, I know it has to come out this time. And they're like, why don't you use the oven timer? I'm like, because I won't pay attention to that buzzing, but I'll see a clock every now and then. I'll be like, now it's time to come out.
But if you don't look at the clock for like 2 hours?
Yeah. No, when you work at an elementary school, you're constantly looking at the clock being like, I'm soon gotta be leaving here, right? So you're always looking at the clock.
Yep.
So Arcane Bakery, which I'm assuming is not on your list because you didn't say it was.
No.
Yep.
My number 1, this is the game that probably may have the most expansions. I think you're wrong with the other one. This is Skulls of Sedlic.
There's only like 8 of those.
Because there's Monstrous, Executioner, Castle Guard, Poet, Merchants, Zealots, Champions, Crown of Bones. There's 3 holiday ones, Ultimate Champions. We don't have all that. Get on that.
What, Skull of Sedlic?
We don't have all of it.
Yeah.
We don't have the 3 holiday features.
Yeah, they're not the things. They're just they're cards.
It's a solo expansion.
Yeah, they just show you shapes to set your things up in.
Yeah.
Like one's a bell, one's like a tree.
I don't think we have the Ultimate Champions expansion.
Yep. When I backed this, I backed it at the top.
Okay.
Trust me, we have all 41 expansions.
So, Skulls of Sedlic, which I believe is how you pronounce it.
Probably.
Close enough.
I'm not French.
You are you're a monk competing to create the best arrangement of skulls in the cemetery. So, like, conmen want to be next to the priest.
Yeah. The game, I think, is you're setting up the catacombs.
Well, no, because it's the hierarchy.
Yeah, and you're placing the bodies in the cones. And
Well, you're placing the skulls in a pyramid.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like I said, Kami, I want to be next to Priest. In the Poet expansion, what?
Poets want to be next to lovers who aren't next to each other.
Yeah.
Which negates their scoring conditions.
Yeah, and lovers want to be next to each other, and
nobles
want to be above peasants.
Yeah.
And peasants are just 1 point. So there's so many different ways to score.
Mm-hmm.
Priest, it's 2 points per each, having one in each level.
Yeah.
So it's really thinky because of making sure you play the right card to help build your mausoleum, catacomb, graveyard, whatever you want to call it. And boy, do the expansions really change up. That castle guard one, where you want to have a castle guard above the royalty, because it like protects them. Man, that's really hard because of how you need. Like, you can't put one card in the first level, then the next card on the second level, because it's sort of you have to be able to build. Yeah. So you have to have 2 cards on the base to go to the next level, 3 cards to get, or 4 cards on the base to get 3 cards up, and so
it's like stacking cups.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that, but with some scoring, and I enjoyed it when we played it. We played it base game, and then we just rolled through all the expansions, and I really liked each time. Mm-hmm. So that was my number 1, Skulls of Sedlic. Do you have any favorite Button Shy games? Do you have any small micro games? There are other micro games out there. Yeah. That 18 card things. Grove, Orchard are 2 big ones that just came out.
Or any other micro companies, because there are like 3 or 4 now.
Yeah. Micro
companies that have really taken over.
Yeah. Do you like that genre of game? And if you have a favorite Button Shy game, put that down in the comments. Do like, subscribe, hit the bell, share, whatever else we need to do.
Yep. If you work for Button Shy, start sending us stuff. There's a chance one of our 46 followers could be working for them.
For Button Shy. They are close to us.
Yep.
They're based out of New Jersey, and we're in Pennsylvania. Yep. So we do see them at PAX Unplugged, which is where we tend to get a lot of Button Shy games.
Because it's easy to travel with.
Yeah. Whatever we don't get off Kickstarter, we tend to buy 5 or 6 down there at PAX, which we didn't go to last year.
No.
Who knows if we'll get there this year. But, again, do all the things we asked. And with that, thanks for watching.
Stay sweet.